Hi, this is Weekly Reflections, and I'm NancyJoy, back with you again. And depending on when you're listening to this, most people will get it tomorrow. Tomorrow is October 15th. It is the new moon. And, you know, new moons are always terrific. Oh, but to me they are. The energy of them is always new beginnings, new doorways, new opportunities. Something's ended, something's beginning. And for me, it's extra, extra true. It is, as I mentioned, I think the last one or the one before, I'm a Libra and my birthday's coming up this coming week. And I am just ending, as all Libras are, almost 3 years with Saturn, the taskmaster. I might add the tough taskmaster, sitting in our chart. And there were aspects to Saturn while Saturn sat in our chart. Squares and such to the planet of Saturn, which made it even more difficult for us Libras. Plus, it also had to do with where it was sitting in the north, which is the most difficult aspect. So, wherever it was acting in your chart, you were really struggling. And with me, it was self, friends, relationships. And I have to say, since '09, I can vouch for that. If you've been following me, you've known I've had a journey with that all along. But with this new moon, with Saturn gone, I really do feel a shift, and I feel so much appreciation for Saturn and for all I've learned. And so I came upon this great quote from Metatron, so I want to read it to you. The intricacies and variations of your interactions and bonds with others are very complex. No joke. Relationships will come and go in your sojourn. Often the drama of a relationship ending is a springboard, a vast renewal, although it may not seem or feel that way at the time of the emotional hurt and seeming trauma. Yet this, in truth, is a scope and a lens into the self. And it brings to mind the adage that we know we come into this world alone and we leave this world alone. So to a large extent, our journey is a journey of the self. And our relationships are all opportunities, triggers, whatever you want to call them, into that most important relationship of all, the one with ourselves. And, you know, even there are many people going through this time right now alone and, you know, made to feel or looking for the mate, the relationship, what's wrong with me. It could very well be that you planned to go through this alone. And in some ways, nothing could be more powerful than that. For me, Ezekiel has always said that your toughest lessons will come through your deepest passions. And that's because you can't run from your passion. It's who you are. It's how you identify. And my passion has always and forever been people. Groups of people, relationships, friends, family. I don't struggle so much with family. Yay! And really, I kept saying I don't struggle now with groups of people or friends because I really feel like I understood that I chose this passion of relationships, of people, and I got immersed in it. I lost myself in it. Another thing Ezekiel always says is we hide behind our greatest strengths. I'm a great people person. You know, it's not bragging. I mean, I am because it's my passion. Whatever your passion is, you're going to be pretty extraordinary at. And yet also that's where, if you don't run from them, your greatest lessons are. And I certainly created, Saturn worked with me, and we created a situation where there wouldn't be any running. And I'll tell you what, it was, as I look back, I mean, maybe not always so easy to go through. And some of my friends worked through it with me. Some of them could roll through and join me in that space in their own way. And others, you know, a season, a reason, a lifetime, but of course always in my heart because these are my teachers. And I really felt that this, as I approach my 65th birthday this week. 30 of those years, since back in the 80s, around the middle 80s, I have been consciousness unfolding. I awoke back then, and I have been journeying within, without, all over the place, as you know, all over the world, in fact, discovering myself. Because no matter what we say, and it is true, I'm a grid worker, and I'm a template maker, and I do all these things as I travel and with people and with groups, and it's wonderful. I embrace it completely. But also, those journeys are inside myself. And I feel that with Saturn gone now, I can feel how I've sharpened my lens. I'm looking not only in the inner world with a new lens, because I've been really exploring the inner world intensely lately. Lots more stillness and silence in my life. And I even created where I put aside my type A, do, must be busy, must accomplish. And oh my gosh, I learned so much about me during that time. And I'm feeling very uplifted. Lots of information came my way, lots of wonderful things to support me in my journey. And so for this reflections, I really wanted everyone to embrace your new beginnings with this full moon, and understand your relationship with relationships. You know, some people create lots of dramas out of them. Because that's how they're learning about who they are. Some people avoid them, never will be vulnerable, because that's their journey. They have to learn to open to be vulnerable. I invite you during this upcoming time to really take a look at relationship and to understand that every time you do create or encounter a drama or extreme emotional reactions in your relationships, it does have to do with the ego. There's nothing wrong with your emotions, feeling them and expressing them, but you have to understand that what's really upset is your ego. Your ego's upset because someone isn't responding as you are, or, moving as you would like them to move, or understanding who you are, or whatever it is. When you're centered in yourself, you can understand that. When you're not, you're out of balance, and that's when these dramas are created. But they're wonderful, because within these dramas are just the greatest gifts ever. So, take a look at these things. There's a song I love from Wicked, and it kind of goes, it's like, all the things I've learned from you, I've changed. Because of you, I've changed. It's a great song. And another thing, exploration that's really been helpful to me is, I read it 3 years ago, Eckhart Tolle's New Earth, but I've reread it, listened to it, and reread it now, this month, so twice, because there's such a wealth of information on understanding your ego. And where it leads you, where it takes you, it's absolutely fantastic when you listen to it in the right consciousness. Obviously, 3 years ago, my ego wasn't willing to hear, right? Wasn't willing to listen. But I've taken it in now, and it's certainly changed my life. I've certainly become more conscious. And one thought I want to leave you with, when you're going through these dramas, when you're in relationship, when you're struggling with your ego, and you wonder, how do you move through this? How do you change it? Just the conscious thought that it is your ego that's not fulfilled and your ego's expectations that aren't being met. Just to acknowledge that changes everything. So think about that this week. Have a great week. Enjoy the new moon, and we'll be back with you next week. Bye.